speaker. Again, it's Patrick Miller. He is this year's president for the Amarillo branch of the NAACP. He is a native of Amarillo who serves as an assistant principal within the Amarillo Independent School District. He completed a 6-year term on the Amarillo College Board of Regents, which he was elected to at 25 years of age. While serving on the board, he collaboratively managed a budget of approximately $67 million and adopted policies which increased college accessibility, affordability, and completion. His efforts helped Amarillo College earn the distinction of Rising Star from the Aspen Institute. And Patrick, this is what Los Barrios does. We want all students to reach a higher education as does the NAACP. So thank you for that. After graduating from Paladera High School in 2008, he was a first-generation college student, earning his Bachelor of Arts degree in pre-law studies from West Texas A&M in 2012. He decided to forego law school and obtain his teaching certificate instead. So that would be interesting to hear why. In 2014, he earned a Master's of Arts degree in teaching from WT and earned a Master's degree in educational leadership from West Texas A&M in 2020. During his tenure at Travis Middle School, he served on several site-based committees, including the Site-Based Decision-Making Committee, and was recognized as the 2015-2016 Teacher of the Year at Travis Middle School. Congratulations for that. After completing 4 years as a classroom educator, he was promoted to serve as the Curriculum Assessment Specialist at Whittier. While at Whittier, he served in various roles, including but not limited to the Site-Based Decision-Making Committee, and then in July of 2021, he began a new assignment as the assistant principal at Eastridge Elementary. He is the president of the Amarillo Branch NAACP and a distinguished member of the Omega Delta Phi Theta Chapter Alumni Association. His selfless devotion to the Amarillo community has displayed through his active membership within the Loft Church, the Panhandle PBS Advisory Council, and the Randall Leadership Award from the Pentecostal Temple Church in February 2017. In 2018, he was the recipient
No, you're good.
The Amarillo Branch NAACP. And in May 2019, he was recognized with the Top 2% Educator Award from Paladera High School. So, Patrick, wow. That's a lot. That's so much. And again, thank you for being here and sharing your story and the story of NAACP.
Thank you. To God be the glory. I don't even know who that kid you were reading about is. Wow. You never really try to think about everything you're accomplishing along the way. You're just actively serving wherever God plants you. So I'm very humbled and thankful and appreciative to receive any opportunity to kind of share anything with any group. And I'm certainly among leaders in our communities who are faithful servants who do what they're supposed to. No one asks you to do the work that you do. You just know that you must take the initiative. So thank you, Mary. Thank you, Los Barrios de Amarillo, for hosting this forum, hosting your meeting, and inviting me. I'm in the presence of greatness, and I stand on the shoulders of giants. I'd be remiss if I did not publicly congratulate Dr. Liz Alanis. This is a great achievement for not just you and your family, but for people of color, for the city of Amarillo, state of Texas, and our nation. So just understand that we are all invested in your success. And again, thank you for reading my bio. That's crazy.
You may keep it off the ground today. I'm not cheap.
I think we're picking up feedback from someone.
If everyone will please mute your microphones. Sorry, Mary, I know that's what you were probably trying to say. If everyone will please mute your microphones, that way Mr. Patrick Miller can have the floor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Do you have questions for me, Mary? I mean, I honestly like to just have that dialogue, have that conversation. So if you have anything off the top of your head that you would like me to elaborate or expound upon, I'm certainly willing to do so.
Well, because Los Barrios, our goal is to promote higher education, and you being part of the Amarillo Independent School District and Amarillo College, I guess I would like to know, every year there's different changes. COVID brought changes. This is second year. It's bringing changes. I guess I just want to know, like, how are organizations like Los Barrios, how are we doing to help these students cope through different changes and go through, achieving a higher education, and what do we need to do more of?
I think
More.
No, that's a wonderful question. I think organizations such as Los Barrios de Amarillo remain on the forefront of ensuring that students have access to, those opportunities to connect and network with people in industry, business, and in the education community. You're certainly doing a great job. You just recently hosted a conference in which you had hundreds of students have the opportunity to do what I just mentioned, network, and just having that exposure to professionals of color, to have exposure to institutions where they may not have felt they have an advantage in, but now that they see they have an opportunity through the Thrive Scholarship, which is a great partnership that Amarillo College, Amarillo ISD were able to connect with in coordination with Amarillo Area Foundation. I think it just helps to make college accessible and more tangible as an end result, rather than some foreign opportunity only for the most privileged, something that is more inclusive rather than exclusive. So organizations such as yours, and obviously the Amarillo Branch NAACP, when we are awarding scholarships to worthy graduating seniors each spring, I think it does a lot to show our long-term commitment to seeing that these students have opportunities to thrive in the post-secondary world. And we want to see them have success because we know that we were the recipients of someone else's charitable act. And they blessed us with the opportunity to do things. Many of us were first-generation college students. We did things to help propel our families to a different level of success, and we want that to continue to be the generational norm. So it's very important that we continue to volunteer at our local schools. Obviously, I'm biased towards Amarillo Independent School District as an employee, and I want as many volunteers as possible. We would definitely recommend if there's any type of support that you can provide to the families, if it's helping them know how to access the Wi-Fi, or how to ensure that they have the broadband technology that they need to have success for their students to be able to succeed in school. Those things are important. If it's just a donation of clothes, you don't know how big of a difference that can make, or donation of food. I know there are many organizations, nonprofits such as Snack Pack for Kids, for instance, who would donate. Square Mile Development Corporation, they will donate food. I mean, Catholic Charities, there are numerous organizations who find ways to connect with our schools. And I think that if our organizations, Los Barrios de Amarillo and Amarillo Branch NAACP respectively, continue to have a footprint in these schools, we're going to continue to make a difference and see certain things begin to change in an expeditious manner.
For sure, that's really good. I see in the chat, Teresa Kennedy has a question regarding the NAACP and the direction that you're going in 2022. And so I guess give us an overview of what you've done in 2021 and what exciting things are to come.
Yes, that's a great question. Of course it would come from Teresa. I am thankful to have just an outstanding executive committee. They help lead me to make the appropriate decisions. What I've learned over the course of the calendar year of 2021 has just simply been the levels of complexity in running a historic civil rights organization, which has existed in Amarillo for over 78 years. Having that enormous opportunity and privilege is not something to take lightly. There have been certain bumps in the road that I've experienced, and you can certainly experience new things and bring things that you've previously experienced into this role. But there's no greater test than actually being in the moment and having to make certain decisions. You can't do so in isolation. Unilateral decisions never work at this level. So anything that we are planning, we're going to have to continue to be deliberative about. We're going to have to continue to collaboratively seek to address the most pertinent issues affecting Amarillo. What you've seen from us over this calendar year, and this is going to go into her question, but what you've seen from us is our opportunity to bridge racial divides, connect people with organizations and with institutions that they may not have had access to. And we have provided those virtual town halls, which have enabled people to get access to information they may not have had. You go back to January, and it seems like it was so long ago, but this year has really flown by. We began the year with, our COVID town hall, and it was in a time in which we were just experiencing those vaccinations being available in our community. So just to be able to have Mayor Nelson there, Councilmember Frida Powell, to have Casey Stoughton, our Director of Public Health, present information to us, and we were able to then disseminate that to the wider Amarillo community. That was paramount to the success that we've seen in people obtaining vaccinations and the truth regarding those vaccinations. I, for one, was on the fence until I heard the information in that virtual town hall. So it's not just, putting it out there for everyone else to comprehend. It's a learning opportunity for us all, but you take that and you take the work that we did in partnering with the Potter Randall County Medical Society Alliance and providing food to our healthcare workers, and thanks to Pizzeria Nomad, you take the opportunity we had to have criminal justice reform presentation featuring Amarillo Police Chief Martin Barkenfeld and Randall County Sheriff Chris Forbes, as well as Potter County Constable Adela Jackson and Assistant Police Chief Ken Funtek. You take us then moving to a place where we were having a virtual municipal election candidate forum, and then going into an education forum with Dr. Russell Lowry Hart of the award-winning Amarillo College, whose banner is behind me. You take us then moving to having the opportunity to bring Dr. Shanna Peoples in and having other opportunities to share information regarding housing, or to promote women, or to promote just our veterans. And the things that we've done, albeit virtual, have been done in a safe manner, but have had greater reach. When you look at what we've been able to attract when it comes to our social media presence, it's been enormous. We've seen exponential growth in the amount of people that have access to the work of the Amarillo Branch NAACP, the amount of people who are following us when we are putting out open letters in support of rezoning efforts in North Heights. And you have people following us and paying attention when we're speaking against voter suppression, which is now law in Texas. You have people paying attention to what we are doing because we have the ability to reach people who may not have ever known that Amarillo even has an NAACP. So we want to continue to carry that forward into 2022. Hopefully, we are prayerfully considering bringing more things back in the traditional arena and doing more of our events publicly. But I think we're going to cap this year off with a virtual freedom fundraiser, and we're partnering with our local media for that, not the least of which includes Panhandle PBS. And that will be December 11th. There will be information disseminated about that as we move closer to that date. But I just think that we're going to continue, as our executive committee has, as our organization has, and we're going to continuing to, promote the equity and social life and political life and economic life here in Amarillo. So I know it's a very long-winded answer, but I mean, there's just so much to, really take in consideration in that type of question. So thank you, Teresa, for even prompting me to provide that answer.
I that's a lot. You guys are doing a lot, and you first mentioned the virtual town hall meetings and doing it in conjunction with the Amarillo City to talk about the COVID vaccinations. And I just want everybody to know that I called you whenever she called us to do it for the Barrio community. I called Patrick and said, "Oh my gosh, how did you do this? What, tell me what to do." And you were instrumental in helping us do the same. And it's, it's all about sharing information to for the greater good, for the community. And you guys have been doing a phenomenal job, like you said, for 78 years. Liz would like to know, what advice do you have to young leaders? She's got her staff attending today, and they want to know how to get involved.
Yes, thank you for posing that question on behalf of Dr. Alanis, Mary. Dr. Alanis, what I would tell your young leaders, your aspiring leaders, is that they are already on the path and the trajectory towards success because they're here. They want to be in the know. I would tell them to continue to strive to earn an education at whatever level they think is necessary for them to be able to contribute to our community. I would tell them to find ways to volunteer for organizations that they have passions for. I would tell them to know that they have value, they have worth, and they are capable of doing anything right now. You take, for instance, put Bowie Middle School in the spotlight. They have a student council led by a great member of my executive committee, David Martinez, and they are constantly doing sock drives and other sorts of drives to ensure that people with needs have those needs met. Those are middle school students. So you can think about any student who's in high school or in college and maybe is a young professional adult. I would just tell them, just step out on faith and be involved. Join organizations. The Amarillo Branch NAACP, to be a member, it's only $30 for adults. If you're 20 and under, the range is anywhere from $10 to $15, but there are always opportunities to make just charitable contributions. A lady just gave us $1,000 gift just out of the kindness of her heart. Our treasurer I met with just yesterday, she provided me that check and we deposited that into our account. So you can donate, you can become affiliated with, you can serve alongside of those organizations that are seeking to do the things that you believe need to be done to make our society more equitable and to make sure that people know that people of color have value, they have worth, and United States of America is as much our nation as it is anyone else's.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Kim Flanagan says, great work with getting this vital information out to the community in very brilliant and innovative ways, which is digitally, like you said, you guys have made a big impact on social media. That's just the way people communicate anymore. So great job in doing that. Also is saying yes to David Martinez and the Bowie Middle School Student Council. They help with the barrio cleanups, and I know that they're very involved in helping to raise money even for their 10th Street Streetscape project. And so students do want to get involved. That's what we've always heard. They just don't know how. So thank you for sharing that. Teresa also mentions bringing Emmanuel Acho. I might be mispronouncing that, but what about bringing him to Amarillo to talk about racism and other related topics? He wrote the book Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man, which she says is an excellent book, and it sounds like it. Do you have any plans to bring anybody into town to do something like that?
Well, I think that's a great suggestion by Teresa, and I certainly appreciate that. Emmanuel Acho, I'm familiar with. I grew up a Texas Longhorns fan, and he's definitely one of the greatest Texas football athletes. So it's, I've been able to become aware of some of his work in social justice. He would certainly be someone we would consider bringing in. Perhaps Los Barrios de Amarillo can help us make that happen, whether it be he or someone else like-minded. I think anyone at this day and age can stand to learn about whatever unconscious biases may exist, whatever implicit biases, and just be aware of, some of the cultural sensitivities that we all need to be aware of. It doesn't matter if you're a person of color or not. We can all benefit from implicit bias training. When I was on the Board of Regents at Amarillo College, I went through implicit bias training and was able to find out some of my own microaggressions. And it's so very important that we don't think that just because we're persons of color that we are somehow, we are inoculated from, or maybe we don't have our very own implicit biases. We can all stand to learn.
Sorry about that. I think somebody just joined and didn't have it on mute, but go ahead.
Oh, no, I was about to wrap up, but honestly,
Okay.
no, I'm thankful for that question. I'm hopeful that, like I said, as we move into a more traditional setting, we can have the opportunity to bring some of those great speakers here to our beloved city.
Well, I think, speaking on behalf of Los Barrios, we would love to partner with that. Actually, Patrick and I have met and talked about doing a partnership, because when you're working with every area of the community, not just the barrio, not just North Heights, not just San Jacinto, when we're all working together, that just strengthens us, all of us. We just need to be cohesive and work together. So we'd love to talk about doing something like that. And I'm sure Teresa would love to be part of that as well. I'm talking on her behalf. She certainly can talk, but I know that would be a great thing to do. I'd like to open it up to questions. We have several people on this call, and I know that you've got questions for Patrick regarding education or the NAACP. And so I just open it up for questions.
Let me answer this one. I'm seeing it pop up in the chat. And yes, ma'am, whomever it is from Los Barrios de Amarillo, we did award 18 scholarships this past year to some more of the individuals. And how was it handled? We were able to all split up and go to our we went to Emerald High, Tascosa, Paladro, and Caprock, and we, during their respective senior award ceremonies, we were able to present the information to those seniors. And then once we obtained the necessary documentation that we needed for our organization, we were able to then cut the checks and send those off. I think the last of the checks went out probably at the end of September.
This is Tina Cisneros. I'm the one that sent that, since I had opened up the Zoom for us this morning. But I was just wondering, I guess out of curiosity, do you all give only to local area, or has NAACP ever expanded outside of Amarillo to award scholarships?
For the seniors themselves who are applying to receive them?
Yes.
As of now, we have primarily focused on those from the Amarillo Independent School District. Occasionally, there have been some interest, but it's been very few and far in between in those who apply for our specific scholarship from outside of our region. Not that we're opposed to, and we certainly be open to, if someone wants to apply for a scholarship, and we have the funds available through our various community partnerships, we would like to honor that request and provide any student with an opportunity to obtain a higher education. So that is something worth considering. And
yes, I'd sure love to visit with you about that. The reason being is, I know, having worked at Caprock for several years and with Thrive, that we feel like those kids who are college bound pretty much could have their first 2 years covered. But people out in the region don't necessarily, there may be a handful, but most of the schools out in the region do not have Thrive. And so we feel like, they need the help just as well.
No, that's a great observation, Tina, and I'd definitely love to, speak to you about that. And I would get with our education committee chairman, my predecessor, Mr. Floyd Anthony, to kind of see where his thoughts are regarding that.
That would be great. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Does anybody else have any other questions for Mr. Patrick that you would like to ask? I know there's got to be. Nobody be shy.
I did want to know a little bit more about Eastridge. I know that having worked with the school district, that was a really a high need school, had quite a lot, I think close to 100% of being Title I eligible for free and reduced lunch. Could you tell me a little bit more about Eastridge now that you're there?
So the interesting thing about me being at Eastridge is I am a former Eastridge Eagle myself. I attended Eastridge Elementary as a 5th grade student when my parents moved me over to the Eastridge neighborhood, and that's how I began the Polydoro Cluster route. So I'm very appreciative and humbled by this opportunity to be here. With Eastridge Elementary, as you said, it's a very diverse, complex school. We have approximately 750 students. We have about 30, between the languages and dialects spoken, you can get up to about 30. We have about 95% of our students economically disadvantaged, which means they are on free or reduced lunch because they are considered lower socioeconomic statuses in their families. There's a whole lot I could say, but we're fortunate. We have family support advocates, parent involvement coordinator, and various instructional assistants who speak multiple languages, ranging from Burmese to Somali to Korean to Karenni, Laotian, Vietnamese, Spanish, and everything and anything else in between. And so we benefit from having a very diverse group of staff who are able to serve the students. And we have a very dedicated set of staff in the form of our classroom teachers, our full-time educators who do everything they can around the clock to meet the needs of our students. We are piloting things from the Texas Education Agency, resources and curriculum for CRIMSI, which is an acronym for which I cannot even explain what it is, but we're using Amplify Reading, we're using Eureka Math, PhD Science curricula, because these things are closely aligned to what TEA is striving to have across our state, and hopes that it would help students not only now and not only for assessments, but also for their post-secondary futures. So just being on this campus and knowing how much it has changed, even from the diversity that was there when I was here as a student, it's so incredible to see how much the school has grown and how many cultures are embraced here at Eastridge Elementary School. And with that, I would invite anyone to come out and volunteer. We'd love to have you. I'm one of 2 assistant principals. That's how big this school is. And we have an instructional leadership team composed of reading recovery specialists, curriculum assessment specialists, instructional coaches, our principal, Ms. Jeannie Vaca, other assistant principal, as I mentioned, Mrs. Janessa Kennedy, and myself. We're all just doing our part, and everyone has to contribute what they can at any moment that they can in order to ensure that this school works. But we would be nothing without our teachers who are in the trenches every day, and thankful, especially in these times, to have a great health room led by Nurse Lindsay London and Ms. Raquel Trujillo, who are ensuring that our students and our staff all remain safe.
I have to tell you that, well, first of all, let me go to Liz's. You just mentioned your predecessor, Mr. Floyd Anthony, and there's even a picture of him at the Wesley Community Center in the cafeteria.
Wow.
I don't know if you know that or if you've seen that.
I didn't know that.
You'll have to go to Wesley and see all the great things that they are doing as well, when it comes to education too. But anyways, you were talking about the amount of students, 750 students with 30, probably more than 30 dialects. That's huge, Patrick. I mean, I don't think that people understand the challenge that provides, but you guys And I can say this because whenever I sat on the school board several years ago, I went to Eastridge and visited them, and they're not only helping these students that sometimes didn't even have a written, they didn't know how to write in their own language, much less ours. The staff there were taking on those challenges with smiles on their faces. They probably didn't always smile, but they were there to help these kids acclimate and learn. And so thank you. Thank you for all of that. I appreciate it. We have a question. What are the greatest needs today for those students? And I think you kind of mentioned some of them, but if you have any needs that maybe we can help with, I know that volunteering is one of them, but what are some of the other things that we could do?
Our students could definitely benefit from any coat donation. We have we have 3-year-old pre-K, 4-year-old pre-K on the same campus. So you can imagine how many accidents there are. We can always benefit from clothing donations and the undergarment, area. Oh my gosh, people, we find that, people just find us. And as I've discovered here in my brief tenure at Eastridge Elementary, it seems as if people, find ways to support us that we haven't even thought of. So, as much as I could, try to drive you to a specific need, our students could benefit from your love and support in any way. And our staff, we are very much appreciative of any charitable act toward Eastridge Elementary School. When it comes to services that are provided, as a Title I school, we receive federal funding, so there are additional, resources that we are able to provide for our students to make sure that they are one-to-one on technology, to ensure that we don't have any academic gaps that we can't close. So just whatever you can do as far as whether you're actively involved, volunteering, serving here, or if you feel like there's something on your heart to give in a monetary donation to support the clothing needs, we would benefit from it all. So I want to leave it up to you and not try to, put anything in a box. Like, I want to give you the autonomy as a stakeholder to give what your heart desires to give to Eastridge Elementary School.
Thank you for that. Yeah, you mentioned lots of needs, and it's really easy to do. So thank you for that. Kim is asking, are there any plans for the NAACP to do some community planning to assist the Hamlet community? And how do you? Because I think that y'all do. And but specifically, community events and guidance to make that community more inviting and family centered. There might be a stigma or a bad rap for violence. And so what are some of the things that you guys are doing on behalf of the NAACP?
Well, I can tell you that is something that we're actively strategizing over. Back in July, in plans for Independence Day, I actually had the opportunity to sit down with Chief Birkenfeld, Assistant Chief Johnson, Assistant Chief Funtech, and we actually helped to kind of coordinate the events that happened in the park this past Independence Day. So that was one of the things that we have done and will continue to build upon. Is we're going to do events in the Hamlet neighborhood as we feel compelled to do those events. And I think for us, it's not just stepping in and saying, okay, we know all the answers. If people come to us and they have a suggestion and they would like to have us in their own church or their home, even the Hamlet Elementary School, if they'd like to be open to having members of the Amarillo Branch NAACP there to, have focus group discussions, we're open to that. We don't ever want to go into any neighborhood, whether it be North Heights, San Jacinto, Eastridge, the Barrio, and try to project our beliefs onto them. If we're invited, we'll show up, and let's find a way to roll up our sleeves and get the work done. So it's not as if we haven't done things, nor is it that we will refrain from it. We will continue to advocate for those people and for those communities that have the highest needs. So, I would say Hamlet neighborhood, if you want us, don't hesitate to ask.
Yeah, that's good. Liz mentions that her neighborhood police officers that are at the Wesley Community Center participated in the event that you were talking about, and that there was a great response from community members. And I know that the NPOs also participated in Teresa's barrio cleanup. And, it's nice to see, like I mentioned, everybody reaching out and helping, no matter if they live on the southwest side of town or, helping out wherever possible. So I'm glad that you're open to doing that. We need to get you guys more involved with having a presence at our big Step Up to Success, or Epic Success is now that it's called. I mean, we reach a lot of students, and minorities are the majority. So they need to see people of color, in the higher positions, because it's somebody that looks just like them, that has a story just like them. So, and that has made it. So yeah, we for sure need to talk about doing that at our next event in March. Does anybody else have any questions pertaining to education or the NAACP? No other questions. Wow, you did a great job of explaining things. Oh, yes, go ahead.
I did want to ask, Patrick, have you ever done any keynote presentations for groups, not just necessarily on NAACP, but just concerning education, your life, how you got to where you are now, what your plans are for the future?
Yes, ma'am, I have. The difficulty is in scheduling. Obviously, as an educator, now as a school administrator, it becomes even more complex of a task. However, usually evenings or weekends work best for me.
And how flexible has that been with the school in being the president of NAACP, and I guess with COVID, you're doing it by Zoom, but I guess futuristic wise, do you have in-person meetings, or how does that work for your meetings if someone wanted to attend?
Oh, so for, I feel like there's two distinct questions there. So as far as Amarillo ISD and understanding that we have between one another, I will do my business, my extracurricular community volunteerism, any philanthropic efforts. Those things are normally done typically outside of my professional working hours, or I take the necessary time off and have that communication with my immediate supervisor to ensure that it does not affect the campus if I'm gone. So in terms of that, I respect my contract and understand those obligations that I have to serve on the campus on which I am assigned, and I'm very respectful of that. But my employer, Amarillo Independent School District, understands. They know exactly who I am, and they worked fine with me when I was a member for 6 years on the Amarillo College Board of Regents, and we have not had a problem as of yet in my current capacity. I don't think we ever will. I think they embrace the fact that they have educators such as myself who are very community minded and are willing to be the servant leaders in our community. They understand how that is just a great addition to campus community, and it helps to show those students, especially those students of color, that they can do it all. They can do anything for their communities and still be professional adults. So that's one part of that question. The second part would be for us as an organization, Amarillo Branch NAACP, we host our meetings on the second Saturday of each month at 1 p.m. We just had a meeting this past Saturday. We posted the recording on our social media. As I mentioned earlier, that is really expanding throughout this pandemic, and we have it on YouTube as well. So feel free to peruse any of the previous recordings. So that doesn't get in the way of anything. But as I mentioned, if any group wants to host me, if there are many of you who are involved in organizations, I'm seeing some names that I know you're involved with other organizations. We've worked in the past, and you know what works best. For my personal schedule, evenings and weekends, if you'd like me to attend your meeting, I can normally be available during those times.
Great, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I think that it's really important to, for the students to see that you're promoting their school too. I'll never forget one time, I think Tina had asked me to go help out at a Caprock career fair that was held in their commons area. And I talked to one female student and I said, what do you want people to know about Caprock? I mean, because you could just tell she was excited to be there. And she said, I just want people to know that we're a great school and we're great students. She said, we get a bad rap and I hate that because we really are a great school. And that I've always remembered that. And that was years and years ago. And I just remember that, that they're proud. Everybody is proud of their school. And so whenever you, Patrick, and anybody is going out and talking up their school, that just gives everybody a sense of pride. So thank you for doing that. I don't know if you see the comment from Liz. Let me get back in there. She sees you as a superintendent soon. We hope, commends you for all of your work. You are an excellent leader and you definitely have the support from the Barrio neighborhood for sure.
Wow. Thank you, Dr. Alanis. Oh my gosh. I'm thankful for that thought. And, and I know the Barrio community has always given me their love and support. Without the Barrio community, I would not have been elected to public office at the age of 25. So thank you. I'm forever indebted to the Barrio community. You've always been there to support me. It's not the same without the great Commissioner Mercy Murguia, but we certainly still have great leaders there like Dr. Alanis and yourself too, Mary.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I know I've asked this question again, but we keep getting a little bit of questions. Does anybody have anything else that they would like to add or say? Okay, well, thank you so much, Patrick, and thank you for offering to speak to other organizations that are on this Zoom call today. Thank you for joining us. We know that your time is very valuable with your students, and they're probably slipping you notes as we talk right now. There might be a fire that you might need to put out. So thank you. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. I want to see if anybody has any announcements. If there's anything upcoming that anybody wants to share, you may do so at this time.
And as they're doing that, let me just say thank you again, Mary, and thank you to Los Barrios de Amarillo. Gracias for everything. Oh my gosh. Those of you joining who have contributed your questions, your thoughts, those of you who have contributed your service to this organization and to others, thank you for your servant leadership. Man, God bless you. Have a very happy and blessed Thanksgiving. I'm so appreciative to know some of you on this Zoom here and look forward to meeting some of the others.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. Our next meeting, and correct me if I'm wrong, Teresa, I know you will. Our next meeting for our speaker meeting is going to be in January, and we're going to have Skylar Gallup, who is with Raise Your Hand Texas. So she has lots of great information regarding education in the state of Texas. So hopefully you'll be able to join us then. It's going to be January the 26th, again at 11 o'clock. One of the tentative things that Los Barrios is doing is our Epic Success for middle schools in Region 16. That's going to be tentatively scheduled for March the 30th. So those are the only two announcements that I have. There's a couple more people that say, great job, Patrick, hands down. And yes, Teresa, let me wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. I hope that you're able to spend blessed times with your families and friends, and think of those that maybe not have any place to go. For Los Barrios, I reached out to our scholarship recipients and invited them over to my house if they didn't have anywhere to go. And so, just think about some others that might not be so lucky, and maybe you can share your Thanksgiving with them. But happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Thank you so much for supporting Los Barrios. Thank you for joining us. For Patrick, Wesley wishes everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Mary?
Yes.
I did want to mention that we're going to be having our membership drive for 2022. Membership, of course, was for free in 2021 due to COVID, but that's coming up. And of course, our nominations for officers, and also looking for new board members. So if you have a interest in our organization and are community minded and promoting education, just shoot us a email or give us a call. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you for that, Tina. Appreciate it. All right, everybody. Well, again, thanks for joining, and you guys have a great day and a happy Thanksgiving. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.